Hi. Once again, dealing with what the solutions to reducing greenhouse gases that you would like to see from governments, business, and communities implement. So a lot of the things that have been mentioned already by the two previous speakers and some of the people that spoke before our table discussions. As somebody who, full disclosure, I worked for Mr. Dion in Ottawa when he was leader, and so I'm really happy to hear so many people saying that they'd like to see a carbon tax. It's 8 years too late. So in terms of the things we came up at our table, looking at different levels of government, municipally, you can, some things that are happening here in Hamilton, such as the complete streets, so making it easier for biking and making public transit more accessible, so the car isn't the default. People need to use their cars from time to time, but still, if it's easier to get to use your bike or to take public transit, then that will help diminish greenhouse gases in that way. Also, one of our people that had to leave talked about how municipally there's the Glanbrook landfill that gives off methane emissions, and methane is actually a worse greenhouse gas than carbon. And so if we could close that, there are places that then mine that methane, and instead of it just going into the atmosphere, they use it as a fuel, and then bringing in the gasification plant down by the water. I don't know enough about the gasification, but he gave an explanation that it would be a fuel source, the emissions go back into the system, it's a closed system, things like that. So it seemed interesting, so that's something else that can happen, both locally and provincially, looking at building codes, as was mentioned just now, to bring in the highest standard for both our commercial and private properties, and whether it's social housing, homes, commercial properties, things of that nature. If they're built to the highest energy efficiency and water efficiency as well standards, and that will help bring down the greenhouse gases. Also,
10 seconds.
All right, and just as one of the initial speakers said, businesses aren't paying for what in the business world are called externalities, whether that's their pollution, carbon emissions, the water uses, etc. It's going on the public dime. So if businesses are made to have to pay for those externalities, they want to make money. So they will look at ways to reduce that. They will employ their engineers, etc., to reduce that, so that they're not paying for these externalities, which they're not worrying about now because we, the public, are paying for it. So those are the ideas.